I never thought I'd be staring down the barrel of betrayal from the family I'd bled code for. Literally debugging their financial messes at 3 in the morning while fog rolled off the bay like a bad omen, turning everything gray and uncertain. Picture this. I'm waving from my new Victorian mansion's bay window in Pacific Heights, San Francisco, right across from the Richter's pretentious Presidio Heights pad. Victor Richter, my late son-in-law's father, is choking on his morning Pete's coffee, spotting me for the first time. His face turns the color of overripe sourdough from Fisherman's Wharf. That's the revenge peak, but let's rewind to how I got here. Hey, if you're grinding through family drama like I was, hit that subscribe button below and drop in the comments. What's the foggiest betrayal you've navigated? It might just save your sanity. Back 3 months. I'm Harold Bennett, 70 years old, white guy, retired software engineer who's coded everything from Silicon Valley startups to secure banking apps that kept fortunes safe. Mine included clocking in at a cool $3 million after decades of hustling 16-hour days and surviving 3 dot-com bubbles. Widowed 5 years now. My wife Margaret, she was my anchor, and when she passed from pancreatic cancer, the world dimmed a few shades. My North Star's always been my daughter Emily. 35, tough as the Golden Gate cables, but cracked since her husband Tom's fatal crash on Highway 101 2 years back. She's raising Liam, my 8-year-old grandson, in the $1.2 million Marin County home Tom left behind. Views of the headlands, backyard perfect for kite flying at Crissy Field on those rare windless days. I live solo in my Noe Valley cottage, 900 square feet of memories and empty coffee mugs, but I'm her silent guardian. Monthly wires for Liam's private school at Town School for Boys, groceries from Buy Right Market, even covering her grief counseling at Street Dominic's Catholic Church in the Marina. Emily doesn't know half of what I do. That's how I like it. Clean code, clean conscience. The fracture hits at the Richter's annual family unity brunch during the Cherry Blossom Festival in Japantown. Sakura petals floating like pink snow while Victor, pompous ex-real estate mogul, and Marlene, socialite queen bee, corner Emily near the dessert table. Blake, Tom's arrogant brother, smirks from behind his $15 matcha latte. They demand she sell the house for Liam's trust fund, claiming they'll manage it better. As if she's some incompetent child who can't balance a checkbook. Move in with us in Presidio Heights, they say. Really code for control her, belittle her Bennett blood poverty, make her feel small in their 4,000 square foot monument to excess. Emily calls me sobbing from Nihonmachi Garage, her voice cracking like broken glass. I can hear Liam in the background asking if mommy's okay, and something in my chest caves in. I feel that old code rage boiling, the same fury that kept me debugging systems at 2 in the morning, refusing to let bugs win. Except this time, the bugs wear tailored suits and drink wine that cost more than most people's car payments. Here's what they don't know. I've secretly paid Tom's pre-accident debts. A $150,000 gambling hole from bad crypto bets he made trying to impress his father. Victor never knew his golden boy had feet of clay. I covered it all. Liquidated stock options, called in favors, made it disappear like elegant code. Because that's what you do for family. Real family. Not the kind that measures love in property values and trust fund percentages. I decide right there, standing in my kitchen with Emily's tears echoing through my phone. No more Mr. Nice algorithm. Time to recompile this whole damn system. I start liquidating assets quietly. Bonds, some old tech stocks that finally matured, a rental property in Oakland I've held since the 90s. My eyes land on the mansion across their street that's been lingering on Zillow since the Pride Parade chaos. 3.4 million, Victorian beauty, needs work but solid bones. Inner conflict rips me apart like competing functions in bad code. Am I protecting Emily or unleashing my grief-fueled beast? Am I the white knight or just a bitter old man with too much money and not enough sense? Margaret's voice echoes in my head. She'd tell me to think it through, measure twice, cut once. But Margaret isn't here, and Emily's drowning while the Richters throw stones instead of life preservers. A humorous beat hits me as I'm debugging their generosity like a buggy app. I actually chuckle, sitting there in my Noah Valley cottage with a glass of Anchor Steam, realizing I'm about to become the world's most expensive neighbor. The irony's almost too perfect. Victor made his millions in real estate, and now I'm going to buy the one property he's always coveted. The Victorian with the view, the one he bid on twice and lost both times. Tension escalates as I wire the down payment. My hand hovers over the keyboard, 60 years of engineering discipline warring with pure human rage. My heart's pounding like startup crunch time, when everything's on the line and one wrong move crashes the whole system. But I'm Harold Bennett. I don't crash. I execute. I hit send. $2 million, earnest money, non-refundable. The realtor calls back within the hour, voice breathless with commission dreams. We close in 3 weeks, she says. Cash buyers move fast in this market. I lean back in my chair, watching fog roll over Twin Peaks through my window. The city's beautiful when you're about to flip someone's world upside down. Victor Richter thinks he controls the board. Thinks his money, his status, his precious Presidio Heights address makes him untouchable. He's about to learn what every bad coder eventually discovers. There's always someone better. Someone who's been in the game longer, seen more, survived worse. And that someone just became his neighbor. I'm hunched over my laptop in a foggy Dolores Park cafe, sipping blue bottle drip that's gone lukewarm, when the realtor confirms it. Mansion mine, cash close in 10 days. $2.8 million. A steal in this market where tech bros launch bid wars over Victorian fixer-uppers like they're limited edition sneakers. Feels like cracking a firewall. 1 minute you're staring at encrypted barriers, the next you're in, swimming through data like you own the place. But inside, doubt gnaws at my ribs. I'm 70 years old, tough as the Transamerica Pyramid, yet losing my wife Margaret to cancer taught me that family's fragile code. One wrong line, one missed semicolon, and everything crashes. Emily's my legacy. The only thing that matters in this fog-choked city. These Richters? They're viruses, corrupting everything they touch with their entitled superiority and fake concern. I move in stealth mode. First week, I renovate the front office into a command center, panoramic windows overlooking their manicured lawn, ringed by eucalyptus trees like Golden Gate Park sentinels standing guard. I install hidden cameras, old engineering tricks from my security systems days, when I coded surveillance for banks that needed to catch inside jobs. Tiny lenses in decorative molding, motion sensors disguised as smoke detectors. Drones for overhead shots during Fleet Week flyovers, when the Blue Angels scream past and everyone's looking up instead of around. Nobody notices a Mavic Pro when F-18 seconds are tearing through the sky. Cultural dive begins. I blend by volunteering at Liam's school science fair at the Exploratorium, chatting up parents while my phone quietly mirrors Richter emails through a Wi-Fi exploit I learned in the 90s. Victor's been siphoning Tom's memorial fund, $80,000 for yacht club dues, marina renovations, a vintage Rolex he claimed was a bereavement purchase. The fund was supposed to pay for Liam's college, maybe a scholarship in Tom's name. Instead, Victor's wearing it on his wrist. Emily visits during Outside Lands prep, when the city smells like food trucks and optimism. We laugh over Korean tacos and craft beer, watching workers build stages in Golden Gate Park. She has no idea I'm watching her in-laws like a hawk tracking field mice. I hide the rage behind dad jokes and questions about Liam's baseball practice. She thinks I'm just a lonely old man grateful for company. She's half right. Plot twist drops like a baseline. Blake spots my moving truck on day 3, waves mockingly from his Tesla. Probably thinks I'm some eccentric retiree who overpaid for proximity to his family's greatness. I wave back, deadpan, feeling the power shift like tectonic plates under the city. He has no idea what's coming. None of them do. Emotional low hits me during an unexpected moment. I'm sorting boxes in the new study when I find Margaret's memorial card from Tom's funeral at Grace Cathedral. The Richters had snubbed Emily that day, standing 15 feet away during the reception like she carried something contagious. Victor had actually said it, loud enough for others to hear. Bennett blood never could handle pressure, as if Tom's death was somehow Emily's genetic failure. I remember my vow that day, standing in that cathedral with light streaming through stained glass. I'd shield her from these people if it was the last thing I did. Time to make good on that promise. I cut her monthly support cold. $5,000, gone. Just stopped the automatic transfer like flipping a switch, watching the scheduled payment disappear from my banking app. She panics via text from a Muni bus. Dad, bills piling. Liam's tuition due. What happened? Did I do something wrong? Her words gut me like a bad diagnosis. Guilt stabs deep, twisting in my chest like a knife made of ice. This is my daughter. My baby girl who used to fall asleep on my shoulder during late-night coding sessions, who brought me coffee during Margaret's chemo appointments. But resolve hardens like concrete setting in the Bay Area Sunday. I'm debugging an endless loop here. If I keep supporting her, she stays vulnerable to their manipulation. They need to see her struggle, need to believe she's desperate. Only then will they show their true faces. I quip to myself, staring at my reflection in the new bay windows. Time to deploy the Bennett patch. Margaret would have smacked me for the terrible tech humor. I miss her every single day. Escalation mode activates. I hire a private investigator during Bay to Breakers race chaos. 40,000 costumed runners flooding the city. Perfect cover for surveillance. Nobody notices a guy with a camera when there's a salmon suit running past. He tails Blake for 2 weeks. Coffee shops in North Beach, late dinners in Soma, suspicious afternoon visits to a marina motel that charges by the hour. The files compile on my desktop like evidence mounting in a criminal case. Blake's having an affair. Some marketing executive from his firm, 28 years old, blonde, married herself. Meeting twice a week while his wife Rachel thinks he's at the gym. My heart races as I review the photos. Time-stamped, geotagged, irrefutable. Blake in the motel parking lot. Blake with his hand on her lower back. Blake kissing her against a brick wall while tourists photograph sea lions at Pier 39 3 blocks away. The revenge algorithms activating. Variables aligning. Functions executing. Output pending. I feel alive in a way I haven't since Margaret passed. Dangerous thought, that. Revenge as therapy. But sometimes therapy looks like justice. I save everything to encrypted drives. 3 copies, 3 locations. Cloud storage, physical backup, safety deposit box at Wells Fargo on California Street. Chain of custody matters, even in family warfare. The fog rolls in that evening, thick and complete. I stand at my bay window watching the Richter house disappear into gray nothing. Somewhere in that expensive darkness, they're eating dinner, congratulating themselves on their superiority. They think they've won. Think Emily's weakening, that I'm abandoning her, that their plan's working perfectly. They're about to learn the first rule of engineering. The best systems run silent until they execute. And I'm about to execute. I'm at my desk as the sun dips behind Sutro Tower, casting long shadows like Giants Game floodlights across the hardwood when the first bomb drops. Anonymous email sent. Evidence attached. Recipient Emily Bennett. Richter bank statements showing embezzlement from Tom's Memorial Fund. $80,000 routed through shell accounts to Blake's secret checking. Date stamps, transfer codes, digital breadcrumbs a child could follow. I hit send and feel nothing. No triumph, no satisfaction. Just the cold efficiency of a program executing exactly as coded. She storms my door 2 hours later, post-SF marathon, still in her running gear. Liam's in tow, clutching his Nintendo Switch, looking confused. Emily's tears mix with bay mist clinging to her hair. "Dad, they stole from us." Her voice cracks like fractured glass. They stole from Tom's memory, from Liam's future. How could they? I hug her tight, her sweaty running shirt soaking my flannel. Inner turmoil explodes in my chest like a server overload. I've protected her since coding her first app at 10 years old, teaching her Python while other dads taught catch. But this is different. This is war. The cathartic release hits us both. She sobs into my shoulder while Liam plays games on my couch, oblivious. I stroke her hair like I did when she was little, when nightmares woke her and only Dad could chase them away. Except these nightmares are real, and they wear expensive suits. Plot twist avalanche begins. Victor confronts me 3 days later at Chinatown Night Market. Lanterns glowing red and gold, tourists photographing dragon sculptures, the smell of dumplings and roasted duck thick in the air. He corners me near a jade vendor, face purple with rage. "Hacker Grandpa," he spits. "You think you're clever? Breaking into private accounts? I'll have you arrested." I smirk, hands in my pockets, completely calm. "Just good debugging, Vic. Your security was weaker than Windows 95. Should have hired better IT. He swings. Actual cartoon villain swing, telegraphed from across the Bay Bridge. I dodge, 70 years old but spry from Presidio hikes, and he stumbles into a display of ceramic dragons. The vendor starts yelling in Cantonese. Tourists film everything. Victor scrambles up, humiliated, and storms off while I buy a jade pendant for Emily. $10 good juju. Blake's affair pictures leak the next morning. My PI delivers them to Marlene during her bridge club at the Fairmont. Carpeted luxury, champagne flutes, old money dripping from the chandeliers. She opens the manila envelope between hands, goes pale, excuses herself to the powder room and doesn't come back for an hour. Divorce papers fly faster than cable cars on Powell Street. Rachel, Blake's wife, files within 48 hours. Community property state, California. Blake's about to lose half of everything while paying for 2 divorces. Couldn't happen to a nicer guy. Emotional high hits during the chaos. Emily's digging through old files, looking for more Richter dirt when she discovers something else. My pre-accident debt payoff in archived emails. Tom's crypto gambling, the $150,000 hole, my wire transfers covering every cent. She shows up at my kitchen table unannounced. I'm eating dim sum takeout, hargao, and shu mai when she walks in holding printed emails like evidence at trial. "You saved us twice," she whispers. "Before the accident and after. Why didn't you tell me?" "Because that's what fathers do." I set down my chopsticks, suddenly not hungry. We protect. We solve problems. We carry weight so our kids don't have to. Vulnerability cracks my armor like an earthquake splitting pavement. My grief for Margaret mirrors Emily's loss of Tom. We're both widowed, both navigating fog without our anchors. 2 people trying to figure out how to keep living when half our hearts are buried. She cries. I cry. We eat cold dumplings and talk about loss until the fog rolls in thick enough to block out the Richter house completely. Humor interlude breaks the tension. Liam, bored during a visit, hacks my smart home system for fun. Kid's a natural, figured out my password in under 10 minutes. Legacy Bennett genetics. He accidentally triggers every sound effect simultaneously. Foghorns blast at full volume, aimed directly at the Richter house. Dogs bark, car alarms trigger. Victor runs outside in his bathrobe looking like he's having a heart attack. Liam and I high-five. Emily tries to look stern, but she's laughing too hard. Chip off the old block, I tell him. But maybe we don't mention this to your mom's therapist. Tension peaks the following week. Victor's investments tank. Real estate portfolio crashes after I anonymously tip off regulatory boards about code violations, unpermitted renovations, rental fraud. Valley connections still pay dividends. Bankruptcy looms like fog over the Golden Gate. The Richters, who measured worth in property values and stock portfolios, watch their empire crumble like sourdough, left too long in the rain. They beg Emily to sell the house. Show up at her door, Marlene actually crying real tears. We need liquidity. Family helps family. Think of Liam's future. She refuses. Standing in her doorway, my daughter empowered like I've never seen, her spine straight, voice steady. You stole from my son's future. You tried to control me, belittle me, erase me. The house is mine. Tom left it to me, and you'll never touch it. She closes the door in their faces. I watch from my bay window across the street, feeling pride swell in my chest like a perfectly executed program. My internal dialogue runs clear. Family code rule number 1. Don't feed the trolls. Victor and Marlene stumble back to their house, smaller somehow, diminished. The fog swallows them whole, and for the first time in months, I sleep through the night. Margaret would be proud. Emily's standing on her own. Liam's safe. The code's running clean. Mission approaching completion. I'm sipping Irish coffee at Buena Vista Cafe, Hyde Street foghorn blaring across the water, when Blake's revenge hits like a cyber attack at midnight. My phone explodes with alerts. System breach. Unauthorized access. Someone's hacking my network during Hardly Strictly Bluegrass festival crowds. Alarms scream through my security setup. Every monitor flashes red. Amateur hour exploit. Trying to access my financial records. Plant evidence of fraud. Frame the old man for the crimes they committed. I counter code like it's 1995 crunch time. Fingers flying across keys. Muscle memory from 4 decades of debugging kicking in. I'm tracing the connection mid-set while bluegrass echoes from Golden Gate Park 3 miles away. Got him. Blake's IP address lighting up my screen like a Christmas tree. He's not even using a VPN. Arrogant, sloppy, predictable. Just like his coding style, just like his life. I route everything to the FBI Cybercrimes Division. Every keystroke, every attempted breach, every piece of malware he tried to plant. Gift wrapped with a bow. Cops swarm his place post-show. Federal agents, search warrants, the whole 9 yards. Blake's dragged out in handcuffs while his neighbors film everything for next-door drama. Arrested for computer fraud, identity theft, attempted extortion. Adrenaline surges through my 70-year-old veins. Outsmarting a millennial punk who thought age meant obsolete? Pure victory. But my heart aches watching Emily process the news. More family implosion, more stress she doesn't need. She calls me crying. Not sad crying, angry crying. How could he be this stupid? How could any of them be this evil? I don't have answers, just coffee and a willingness to listen. Deeper layer hits 2 days later. Marlene crashes my doorstep during Dia de los Muertos. Mission districts covered in marigold altars, photos of the dead surrounded by candles and sugar skulls. Death everywhere, memories everywhere. She's aged 10 years in 3 months. Gucci bag replaced with Target tote. Pleading poverty at my door like some Dickens character. Harold, please. We have nothing. Victor's sick. We made mistakes. Irony blooms thick as marigolds. The woman who called my daughter Bennett blood trash, now begging that same blood for mercy. I shut the door. Firm but not cruel, just final. Inside, empathy flickers against my will. I lost my own parents, young, 20s, car accident on black ice back east. I know what desperation tastes like, but empathy doesn't mean enabling. Some people need to fall before they learn gravity's real. Plot twist drops like a bomb. Victor attempts a suicide note bluff. Melodramatic email to the family. I can't go on. I've lost everything. Goodbye, cruel world. I see it forwarded from Emily, her panic bleeding through the text. Dad, what do we do? I anonymously tip the crisis line at Glide Memorial Church. Give them Victor's address, his phone number, the forwarded email. Let professionals handle manipulation disguised as mental health crisis. He's fine. Physically anyway. Just desperate for control, sympathy, relevance. The note was theater, not tragedy. But Emily? She's done. Cuts contact completely, changes her number, blocks them everywhere. The Richters are ghosts now, haunting someone else's story. Meanwhile, she thrives. Launches a startup, AI grief app called Remember Me. Inspired by our journey, by losing Tom and Margaret, by navigating loss in the digital age. Helps people process grief through guided AI conversations, memory preservation, community connection. She pitches at TechCrunch Disrupt, standing on that stage in her power suit, confident, articulate, alive. My daughter, the phoenix rising from Richter ashes, secures seed funding, $250,000 from investors who see what I've always seen. Pure potential. Liam's at public school now, Francis Scott Key Elementary. Diverse, vibrant, real. No more pretentious private academy where the Richters could whisper poison. He's thriving, making friends, kite flying at Ocean Beach on weekends. Kid's got his mom's resilience and his grandpa's brain. Dangerous combination. Emotional dip hits me during confession time. I take Emily for clam chowder at Fisherman's Wharf, tourists swarming around us like seagulls. Tell her everything over sourdough bread bowls. The surveillance, the financial manipulation, the private investigator, buying the mansion specifically to wage war. She's quiet for a long time, stirring her chowder, watching boats in the harbor. I brace for anger, disappointment, betrayal. She reaches across the table, takes my hand. Dad, you're my firewall. Always have been. I'm not mad. I'm grateful. Relief floods through me like system restore completing successfully. We cry into our chowder while tourists take selfies with sea lions. Humor breaks the tension later that week. Blake's mugshot goes viral. Not just local news, national. Tech bro attempts to hack retired engineer, gets owned spectacularly. Reddit has a field day. Twitter roasts him. Someone makes a TikTok with Curb Your Enthusiasm music. Liam finds it hysterious. Shows me the memes. I pretend to disapprove, but I'm saving screenshots. Climax builds fast. Richter's evicted from their Presidio Heights mansion. House foreclosed, assets seized, bankruptcy finalized. Everything they built on stolen money and inflated egos crumbles like sandcastles at high tide. The house hits auction. $3.1 million property selling for 1.8. Market crash, scandal, bad juju. Nobody wants the Richter taint. I buy it. Cash offer. Quick close. Don't even tour it. Emily's confused until I hand her the deed. For your startup expansion, remote workspace, team offices, whatever you need, build your empire on their ruins. She stares at the paper like it might disappear. Looks up at me with Margaret's eyes, the same eyes that have trusted me for 35 years. You really are crazy, Dad. Crazy like a fox, kiddo. Crazy like a fox. The fog rolls in that evening, covering the city in gray peace. I stand at my bay window watching the former Richter house, now Emily's property. 2 buildings, 1 street, a family rebuilt from wreckage. Victor and Marlene are gone, moved to Modesto with relatives, diminished and defeated. Blake's doing community service and probation, tech career destroyed. And Emily? She's flying, startup growing, investors interested, Liam happy, she's free. Mission accomplished, code executed perfectly, family protected. Margaret would be proud. I'm on my mansion porch as pride flags wave citywide, rainbow colors snapping in the June breeze like code finally compiling clean, watching the Richter's moving truck haul away remnants of their former empire. Victor's real estate dynasty crumbled into foreclosure notices and bankruptcy filings. Marlene's solo now in a Tenderloin studio apartment, 600 square feet, shared bathroom down the hall. Blake's serving 18 months for cybercrimes in a federal facility near Lompoc. Feels like the final compile. Clean, efficient, no bugs left in the system. Their mansion across the street, the one they were so proud of, now houses Emily's startup team. Remember, Me has exploded beyond anything we imagined. Valued at $5 million after Series A funding, office space in Soma, 12 employees and growing. She and Liam thrive independently now. Real independence, not the forced kind the Richters demanded. She bought out my financial stake in the company, insisted on it, wanted to stand on her own merit. I let her. That's growth too. Sunday Mass at St. Mary's Cathedral becomes our ritual. Not because we're suddenly devout, but because it's ours. Liam in his button-up shirt, Emily holding my arm, 3 generations sitting in polished pews while light streams through those massive windows. We pray for Margaret. We pray for Tom. We even pray for the Richters, though I'll admit my prayers for them are shorter. Inner triumph settles in my chest like peace after decades of war. I've reclaimed dignity, taught gratitude without complete destruction. The Richters fell, yes, but by their own hands. Their own greed, their own cruelty, their own stupid mistakes. I just held up the mirror. We picnic at Land's End on a Saturday when the fog finally lifts. Rare clear day, the kind where you can see forever across the Pacific. Liam's flying a kite, running along the cliffs while Emily and I sit on a blanket eating sandwiches from Molinari. We laugh over the twists. The mansion purchase, the surveillance, Blake's spectacularly dumb hack attempt. My protection evolved into her empowerment, and that's the code working exactly as intended. No more shadows. No more secrets. Just family, complicated and messy and real. I consult part-time now, mentoring at Code Tenderloin, teaching kids from rough backgrounds the same skills that built my fortune. 16-year-olds with more talent than resources, writing Python like poetry. One kid, Marcus, reminds me of myself at that age. Hungry, brilliant, desperate to prove the world wrong about him. I give him my old laptop, the one I used to crack the Richter accounts. Tell him to use his powers for good. He grins like I just handed him the keys to the kingdom. Maybe I did. Life at 70? Robust. Not the word I expected to use at this age, but here we are. I hike Muir Woods every Tuesday, those ancient redwoods putting my problems in perspective. Trees older than the country, still standing, still growing. Jazz at the Fillmore on Friday nights, sitting in dark rooms letting saxophones and trumpets wash away the week's stress. Margaret and I used to do this, back when our biggest problem was which restaurant to try next. I still talk to her sometimes, out loud, in my empty mansion, telling her about Emily's success and Liam's straight-A report card. I think she'd approve of how I handled things. She'd also probably tell me I went too far, and she'd be right. Balance. Always about balance. Emily shows up unannounced one evening. I'm debugging code for a non-profit pro bono work when she walks into my study with tears in her eyes. Good tears this time. Dad, we coded our own future. She hugs me tight, smelling like her lavender shampoo and success. We actually did it. We survived them. We're thriving. I hold my daughter, this incredible woman who's been through hell and came out forged in steel. Pride doesn't even begin to cover what I feel. Satisfaction washes over me like a system restore completing perfectly. Family fortified, boundaries ironclad, lessons learned on all sides. Emily knows I'll always be her safety net, but she doesn't need me to catch her anymore. She's learned to fly. Liam bursts in, talking a mile a minute about his robotics club project. Needs Grandpa's help with Arduino programming. I ruffle his hair, boot up a second monitor, and we dive into code together. 3 generations of Bennetts, survivors, fighters, engineers of our own destiny. Success isn't revenge. That's what I finally understand, sitting here in my mansion that was bought for war but became a home. Success is resilient code running smooth in the city I love. It's watching Emily pitch investors without fear. It's teaching Liam that intelligence without integrity is just clever cruelty. The Richters taught us what not to be. We taught ourselves what we could become. Victor sends an email 6 months later. Subject line, amends. I delete it without reading. Some bridges stay burned. Some forgiveness stays unearned. Boundaries aren't cruelty, they're survival. Emily agrees when I tell her. She's moved on. We all have. I stand at my bay window one final time, watching fog roll in from the Pacific like it has for 100 years before me and will for 100 after. This city, beautiful and brutal, has been the backdrop for our resurrection. Margaret's photo sits on my desk. Emily's startup announcement framed beside it. Liam's report card magneted to my smart fridge. Evidence of life continuing, evolving, persisting. The code's clean, the system stable, the family's whole. At 70 years old, I've learned the most important algorithm of all. Protect fiercely, love completely, let go eventually, and always, always back up your data. Because life crashes sometimes, but if you've saved your work, you can rebuild anything, even family. So if you've made it this far in my story, do me a favor, hit that subscribe button, drop a comment about your own family drama and how you survived it. And remember, whether you're coding software or coding your life, the same rules apply. Debug ruthlessly. Compile carefully. Execute with purpose. And never ever underestimate a retired engineer with time, money, and a mission. The fog swallows the city whole. I pour myself a whiskey. Tomorrow I'll hike Muir Woods. But tonight I'm grateful. For Emily, for Liam, for second chances, for resilient code running smooth in the city by the bay. Harold Bennett, signing off. System stable. Mission complete.
Revenge never ends. It only waits.